So, I'm just doing another random live stream here, but just already I found one about some guy named Rhett, W or W RHETT. And it says he opens up about Christian deconversion. So it looks like he might have been somebody that, what has like had a Christian channel or something. I'm not really sure, and then deconverted. But yeah, so let's check it out. It's going to be kind of interesting.
Rhett from the channel Rhett and Link recently put up an Instagram video talking about his deconstruction and deconversion journey and couldn't have been more ambiguous. Let's jump into this story. I'm going to attempt to break it down. Deconstruction is a sensitive topic. I get it.
That dude is a regular lumberjack right there. Wow. He has got hair all over his head. Like it's on top, under it, like on the side, like it's just everywhere. He's basically the human version of a Muppet, if that was possible. Like what was that one that one Muppet that was like in the band where it's just like didn't have any eyes, it was just like all hair. Anyway.
Okay. And I am not afraid to talk to folks who have deconstructed, folks who have deconverted. I'm actually attempting
Why
to
would
bring out one
hold
of the
on. The fact that you have to sit there and say, like, I'm not afraid to talk to him, like, shows that if you're feeling like it might be scary just to talk to somebody that is like, yeah, I don't believe anymore. Here's why. If that's scary to you, because if you hear the here's why and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. What we believe is stupid. Ah, man. Oh, I wish I didn't have to keep on believing stupid things. Like, if that scares you, then yeah, maybe you need to kind of think a little bit about why you believe stuff, and for what reasons and how you know those reasons are good reasons and so on and so forth. So here we go.
leading voices in this movement. Believe it or not, I was just texting with him yesterday. Actually, his comments right on the screen. It's him from the New Evangelicals. So I prefer and enjoy having these conversations and really getting to the core of the issue. Okay. And whenever I do with Tim, he gets frustrated with me because I think Tim is a great debater, but I think he's ready for the smoke. No, I'm just playing. I love Tim from the New Evangelicals, but we have
Like,
a
how
lot
do
of
they
really
debate? Like, what do they? He debates like, oh, and but what about this Bible verse and what about that Bible verse? Like, how do they even debate? Like, I'm just so curious about that. Like, what does a debate between him and literally anybody look like? I'd love to see that,
the conversation. So let's
actually.
play this and make sure the audio's on and make sure you could
Mhm.
stop it so I could chime in.
Did you know that Christians who deconstruct have abandoned the authority of God and made themselves their own authority, essentially becoming their own God? You may have.
Yep. Yep.
No,
Pretty much. Mhm. Yep.
no, that's incorrect. Like, we're acknowledging the fact that we have no good reason to believe that it got like it's crazy that they have to straw man to that level. That is just unreal. Like they're just like, yeah, they have to protect. They think that they are gods, yeah, because they are bad, and like they have to paint us as some kind of like evil, crazy, maniacal thing. So they have to say, oh, they believe that they are gods, and it's like, no, man, like there aren't, and we don't believe in any gods. That would be a type of theist. Okay, if I believed that I was a fucking god, that's a theist, man, because I believe in a god. Jesus. Atheist is like, look, we are just on this rock flying through space and we don't know why. That's it. We don't know why we're here, and we're just honest about that because a bunch of manipulative people are running around here going, oh no, I know exactly why we're on this rock flying through space, and it's to get people to go, Jesus, will you please come into my heart? Like that is literally what people say. Like they're just, that's the whole point of living, is to just get people to say that line. And so all the people that sit here and pretend to know that like exactly where the world came from and exactly why the world came from and whatever. Those people are narcissistic as all get out, and they don't have good answers. They just believe stuff credulously because they're just not thinking correctly. They don't have any critical thinking skills. They just believe the first thought that pops into their head. Anyway.
Nailed it. I
We're
love
not
the opening
gods.
of this.
Nope.
Strong opening.
Strong opening, right?
It's crazy that the further he got from Jesus, the more he became like the European painting version of Jesus.
The more he walked away from Jesus, the more he started looking like the white Eurocentric
Wait, so
Jesus.
I don't understand. Are they looking at a video where they're saying that because that was just incorrect. I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't think there's many. Maybe there's some really stupid atheists out there. They're like, I believe I'm a god, maybe, but like I just don't see it. I don't see that being anything that I've ever seen before. Anyway, in the atheist community, we believe in reality.
Oh man, that's funny. All right.
I've heard that before. I definitely have, because I used to think it and I used to say it. That is, until I deconstructed.
Oh, okay. So he was just saying. So they agreed with his basically his claim that, hey, they say this about us, and then now he's gonna like break down exactly, and then they're just like, yep, they do think they're gods because we just decide why other people think things, even though they tell us the opposite.
I may have put it a little less harshly and said something like,
What
"You're leaning
is
on your
that?
own understanding instead
Well,
of
he's over
leaning
here
on God."
drinking hooch. Like, what's happening here? What is going on with that? He's out there. I got a lot of. I just got, we made it behind the toilet, and it is just amazing. Oh, yeah. Or is it like a iced tea? Because you can't have iced tea in it too. But I feel like it's fucking weird if you're drinking out of these things, unless you're in a house completely made of wood with a fucking moose head on the wall, right? And it's some lady that offers it to you in a very, very polite sounding accent that as soon as she leaves the room is talking shit about your black friend. Okay, that is the only time that these cups are reasonable to exist.
God.
All right, anyway.
But the implication was clear. These people who deconstructed were pridefully trusting themselves rather than trusting God. Oh, of course, I see things differently now. I don't speak for everyone who's deconstructed or is deconstructing.
It's crazy. We're just so proud, we know it all, man, by just literally saying that we don't know something. It's amazing how they can get something exactly the opposite, right? It's like we're the ones saying, hey, I don't know if there's a God, but I'm not convinced that anybody's right about it who do say there is a God. And they're like, look, you just acting like you know everything now. I know exactly where the universe came from. I know exactly how he did it, and did it in 6 days, by the way. And then he rested on the 7th. And then it's like they sit there and act like they know literally everything, things that they couldn't possibly know. And then want to tell us that we're the ones that act like we know everything. It's insane.
But I do think that it's helpful, because there's so much talk about it, to hear from somebody who's sort of been through the process, because I think we can all understand one another a little bit better.
I appreciate these sorts of conversations. Listen, I've always been fairly consistent in that I think reconstruction is a good thing. And I hope, and God willing, that channels like mine would exist to help.
Hold on. What the fuck is reconstruction? Like you're hoping that he'll come back to the brain cage, the religion brain cage? Like that's what you're thinking that he's going to do? Look, dude, once you can see how the magic trick is done, then you can't be convinced that it's magic anymore. Okay? Because you can't unlearn things, right? So as soon as you can see like through all the smoke and mirrors, it's not convincing anymore. So him saying like reconstruction, it's just is this complete bullshit. Like I just don't see it. The only time I see that happening is if somebody is just wasn't really didn't really like deconstruct everything and didn't actually think about all this stuff, was just angry or whatever, like what they assume all the atheists are like anyway.
People construct properly the first time, because as you hear folks talk about deconstruction, you just go, well, wait a minute, you bought into this very narrow myopic view of Christianity that's not reflective of the rest of historical Christianity, as we'll kind of get into in this specific.
Just so you know, there is no like anything that's like consistently Christianity throughout like history or whatever. It's changed faces thousands of times. Okay. And to the point where like we don't even know if Jesus and Paul were teaching the same stuff. We have good reason to think that Paul's religion is completely different than Jesus's religion, because he doesn't even, But anyway, that's a whole thing. You should check out Bart Ehrman. He's teaching a course on it.
Video.
Deconstruction didn't start with a decision to lean on my own understanding. And honestly, it felt a lot like the opposite of that. When I was a Christian, I spent a lot of time making sure that what I believed was true. And that usually meant going to sources that had arguments that supported what I already believed. But it turns out that was pretty difficult to do without running into ideas that were critical of Christianity.
Dude, at some point, you have to start feeling like you're gaslighting yourself. Like that was honestly what made me be like, dude, stop it. Just admit that the stuff that you feel like you need to believe is fucking stupid and just let it go, man. And it's like I knew in my head that I was fooling myself, that I was trying to find information. Well, I'm gonna make this argument, man, and that'll really make their head spin, man. They don't even know what's happening when they hear this argument, And every time I had those conversations, the arguments that I was making, I was like, I'm not even convinced by these arguments, and that my whole goal was to find convincing arguments based off of convincing sources. And in my attempt to do that, it all fell apart.
Because those were the very ideas that I was going to those sources to develop a defense for. And that's when I learned that the bulk of people.
So basically, you were in an echo chamber. Not only were you going to get information within your own feedback loop, you were also not really engaging with stuff outside of your feedback loop. And this was the norm of him as a Christian, which I don't know.
What the fuck do you think you're doing, jackass? You think you're just in a fucking, you're just out talking to skeptics and atheists all the goddamn time, huh? Are you? Yeah, no, man. You're doing the same shit. It's crazy how they can always point the finger at other people while they're literally doing the exact same thing. It's amazing because they have to believe that they are different. They have to believe there's some distinction between him and them two, because he deconverted.
Oh, if that's helpful. I feel like as a solid Christian, you should be able to steel man non-Christian arguments.
A lot of different disciplines.
Listen to the language there. That tells you all you need to know. Really, non-Christian arguments. It's like, all that exists are Christians and non-Christians. That's it. That's all that exists in reality. Just people that are Christian and people that aren't. That's amazing that they can use that kind of language and be like, but he's in an echo chamber, though.
Biology or astronomy, geology, psychology, anthropology, archaeology, neuroscience, and in some cases, biblical studies.
That's in a lot of cases, as far as I could tell. Oh, no shit. Really? Hold on. Logan's over here saying stuff. Let me see what's up here. So Logan says, I like Rhett and Link. Is that this guy's name, Link? The guy with the hair. No, I should have said the guy with the not so much hair. Let me put it that way. But I was gonna say the hair that's just on the top of his head, just like somebody shaved. Anyway, I like Rhett and Link. Grew up knowing of them from early Christian YouTube. Oh no shit. Super happy they deconverted and discuss it today. Well, the one on the left, the one on the left is still a Christian. He still does his thing, right? But he's breaking down what you said, Rhett, and the fact that he deconverted. Because this dude, this one, I think he said his name is Link. I'm not, I'm terrible about that. I don't know. I don't learn any. I'm not here to promote them. You know what I mean? So I'm here to laugh at them. But yeah, okay. Long hair is Rhett, right? Link is his buddy or co-host. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not the guy on the screen here that's reviewing. Okay, I'm sorry, my bad. See, that's why you don't jump to conclusions right there, because you can easily be mistaken, right? All right, okay. So both of them were on a show, and they deconverted, but both of them. That's awesome. Okay, good for them. I'm so glad to hear that, because it is hard to do, to snap out of this shit. And it's much needed. It can make your life so much better. Oh my gosh.
had come to conclusions that called my particular conservative evangelical Christian belief system into question. This shook me up a lot. And for the first time in my life, I seriously considered the question, what if I'm wrong? I'd never really done that before.
You've never asked, what if you're wrong? You've never had that thought in your
Oh,
mind.
come on. Like, you're just over here and acting like you just asked that question all the fucking time, man. Come on, man. No, yeah, of course not. I mean, I don't know how I was, like, this guy is. Of course, he's got to pretend like he's never, like, he does ask that question all the time and just, really weighs the epistemological framework around to check and see how sure he is that is, the talking donkey and the talking snakes and floods that didn't happen and whales swallowing and spitting guys after 3 days and all this shit. That he's just he has a real sound epistemology on that shit. Get the fuck out of here.
You walked with Jesus for decades and never stopped to slow down and think, what if I don't have all the answers? Really?
Yeah, man.
And this sounds like this is his perception of Christianity. It's amazing.
Reading, and eventually I got to.
He was a Christian, man. It's crazy. Like, and this is him just getting, just straw manning us all to nothing. He was a Christian like 5 fucking minutes ago, man. Okay, he's just being honest. Jesus Christ.
I think I might be wrong.
Fucking
And
asshole.
then I kept reading some more, and eventually I landed on, I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. I was scared. I was unsettled.
You were wrong.
I was confused. But I felt like I had a choice. I, a guy with only a bachelor's degree who had read a few books, could conclude that all these people who had devoted their lives to studying these subjects so deeply were wrong. Or I could trust them, essentially leaning on their understanding.
So he wasn't leaning on his own understanding. He went in.
There's literally a Bible verse for that, man. It says, lean not on your own understanding. Read your own fucking book. Wow.
Experts that challenged him, and I'm sure those are the leaning on their understanding as the experts that helped him deconstruct his faith.
I can already hear the old me saying,
It's funny because, like, so far all this guy has done has been like, let me misrepresent this guy. Like, let me act like, oh, how he's so stupid because he hadn't, actually thought that maybe I could be wrong. Like, he's never thought that. That's crazy. Like, that's literally the only argument I've heard him say so far. And we're like a good 5 minutes into the video. Anyway.
You made the mistake of trusting human wisdom over God's wisdom. I never talked like that.
I think it's pretty funny that he makes a caricature.
He's like mocking, but not. But then like catches that he's mocking in real time
of his own.
What's wrong with mocking?
Christian path.
You guys sound like fucking morons. Of course, like why? Yeah, why not mock? And it's a perfect example. Like, you did actually pretty good. That was a solid. That was a solid impression there of just Christian pastor. Like, that's it. Just ambiguous Christian pastor.
That's right. But then fits his own Christian past into the like Southern Bible Belt, like believing Christian, which I don't think he was Southern. I think they were like Midwest or whatever.
Who gives?
Which is funny. It's like what we see in
Like,
Hollywood.
but their accent wasn't right. So stupid and deconstruct. It's just like, he shouldn't have deconstructed because he doesn't do accents right.
There's always the stereotype, where, like, it's the racist conservative, the Little Dicky show,
right?
And he does it to himself.
It's
like
not
never that.
Hold on. First of all, I mean, that is true that it's a stereotype, but there is a good reason for that stereotype, and it's because it's factual. Like, I don't know, 8 out of 10 times.
Does it in real time, catches it in real time, and then goes, yeah, but I was. So he kind of showing your hand here, but go ahead.
But I don't think that is quite the God.
Yeah. So Logan said, that is the apologist playbook: misrepresent, obfuscate, and distract. Fuck, it's straight up, dude. We have not heard a single like coherent argument so far at all.
Gotcha, that my old self thinks that it is, because I think that my particular understanding of God back in those days was actually based on my adherence to a very particular school of thought about God, a 21st century American conservative evangelical Christian one. And so even though I would have told you that I got my view of God from the Bible and from the Holy Spirit, that's what I was trusting, I was actually getting my understanding of the Bible and the Holy Spirit, how the Holy Spirit worked, from people.
From your version of Christianity, a Western.
And what are you getting yours from? Like, mine is not Western. So what, man? Like, you get yours from people doing the exact same thing that he's saying they are doing. Like, you're doing the same thing, but it's like he wants so badly to be like, but I'm different though, dude. Sometimes people can be just like you and deconvert. I know it sounds crazy, bro, but that's bro. Like,
You would say evangelical. I would guess there's some fundamentalism in there, understanding of
hey,
Christianity, right? Not a robust, multi-generational, multinational, historic approach to Christianity.
Oh, we always get like I get a lot of Christian trolls. Don't worry about it. On the not trolls necessarily, but they show up to, like, do their evangelizing thing. So this blessed is he, or blessed be he. But Rhett is looking for the kingdom outside of him. He has forgotten his kingdom. Wait, you can't capitalize. Are you talking about, is he Jesus too? Like, you're saying he, like, all caps, has forgotten his all caps. So it's like, this he is different from this he. This is. It's hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry. But that was really funny though, man. You gotta be more clear, because now it sounds like you're talking about Jesus has forgotten his kingdom within. Jesus forgot that? Really? He forgot his kingdom is within him? Jeez, man, that sucks. That sucks. Jesus should remember something like that.
Christianity. Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75% we have going.
Well, yeah. If you all want to, subscribe, that'd be cool. It's not a big deal or anything, but I would appreciate it. But okay.
Conservative, or mostly conservative evangelical Christians.
Right.
So I was trusting in a group of people in both scenarios.
Right.
And I feel like I've got sufficient reason to choose to trust discussions.
Logan said that's the same thing he does on Christian channel. Well, hey, you got more patience than I do. That's for sure. Shit. You're not my real dad. That's Jesus saying that. Anyway.
I mean, I'm not going to try to convince you of that. That's a whole nother video in and of itself, but that's the conclusion that I came to. I mean, they don't claim to be infallible or inerrant, but I do believe that they are my best hope at understanding what is actually true.
There's no hope involved, but
what?
Get the word hope out of there.
I'm hoping
this guy over here does it, like, and you can even see, look at his eyes. He's like, dude, come on, man. Like, just, can you shut up for a second? Because we don't own the word hope, bro. Like, hey, he can't just be running around here using our fucking words. What the hell, man? Next thing you know, he's going to be using stuff like grace and mercy and peace and shit.
these people who are not Christians are going to have a better understanding of my faith or their lack thereof with regards to Christianity than people.
They keep on saying, like, forgotten what, man? Like, I haven't forgotten anything. I remember painfully exactly how Christianity works, and exactly why I used to believe, and exactly why I don't anymore. I don't know why. It's so weird. You're like, just remember. Now I'm doing it too. Now I'm doing the impression like this guy, like he was. Just remember all the good feels you felt when you were a Christian. Just remember it. It's not going to do anything for me, man.
That this world is hopeless.
I am not saying that there aren't Christians who agree with scientific truth. In fact, some of the experts that I read in those areas, especially initially, were in fact Christians.
You don't say. You don't say.
Oh, damn, I missed something.
Oh, so great.
Interesting.
In those areas, especially initially, were in fact Christians.
You don't say. You don't say.
I'm sorry.
My faith or their lack thereof. I'm hoping that these people who are not Christians are going to have a better understanding of my faith or their lack thereof with regards to Christianity than people who, right?
I have hope that this world is hopeless.
I am not saying that there aren't Christians who agree with scientific truth. In fact, some of the experts that I read in those areas, especially initially, were in fact Christians.
You don't say.
So,
You don't say.
stop it.
Oh, so great. The experts I read were actually
I believe the experts, they were Christian as well, but I read their studies and put my own context to it, essentially, right?
What?
Without asking why.
No, it just seems like he's saying like that other people understood what he was believing better than he did while he was a Christian, and they were not Christian because they had an outsider perspective, and he was clearly inside the brain cage. You know, I as far as I can tell, like I could be mistaken on this. Maybe you know, I'm not.
Why
gonna
are they
keep going
studying
back,
this
but
and still Christian?
this dude, they
Right.
just seem
Go a
like
level deeper.
they seem like they're so in deep that they can't they can't reason themselves out of a paper bag, man. It's insane. And they're trying so hard here to his face. He's like, I mean, but they can't.
Right.
They have
Hello.
no idea. They have
Making a
nothing
decision to
work with.
trust the specialist did not necessitate me no longer being a Christian. It's just that trusting them necessitated me becoming a different kind of Christian than I was. Eventually, in my case, following that rabbit hole led to my deconversion. It's a long story. There's several podcasts about it. It's probably going to be a bore. And listen, I could still be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yes.
Because you got to be right? Like you got to feel like you're right. Because and what you were just making fun of him for, which was admitting that you could be wrong, and now he's like, "Oh, good, you're admitting that you could be wrong," and sitting here saying, "Oh, yep, you're totally wrong." And obviously not understanding that you could easily be mistaken. In fact, you're definitely mistaken when you believe in talking donkeys, man. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just stupid. Grow
Ask
up.
myself that on a regular
Jeez.
basis.
Good.
What if I'm wrong? I mean, listen, maybe all these PhDs are deceived. Maybe they're all a victim to some sort of agenda or
Yeah, the planet's worth of the smartest people that have dedicated their lives to investigating what is true about the world, showing their work, putting it up, having it peer reviewed from other scientists, like checking to see other people's work and everything. All those people, all those like barriers to try to get over, to remove all the bias. So doing blinds, doing double blind, all that stuff. Oh, that's all wrong. Yeah, and just because you need to believe that a God sent himself to sacrifice himself to himself in order to convince himself to forgive the world, so that he doesn't, come and kill everybody or whatever. He's a loving God. It's like,
they're
yeah, it makes
perpetrating
no
some sort of
sense.
agenda. That's not the impression that I get. At the end of the day, I think you can develop your understanding of people who have deconstructed by listening to what other people say about them, or you can just listen to them and take them at their word.
All right. Zoom in on my comment. The ambiguity isn't helpful. What specialist on what topics? Or are we just deconstructing six-day creation and then lumping in everything else you don't like about Christianity?
What is
then
with
gets
this thing?
backdoored.
Oh, that was such a good point, man. Like, you're just straw manning. I know, because you don't know what he's talking about specifically, but come on, man. Like, Christians are constantly against science. We couldn't even have a fucking pandemic without you idiots going, but I want to spread a disease. Like, we couldn't, like, well, I gotta wear a piece of fabric on my face. What? This is it's the government tyranny. Like,
So
it was
only
you guys.
something
That was all
conservative
the
evangelical Christians believe. And then I said I would love to hear it.
Here we go. Logan said, here we go. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Logan said, like, why is he laughing at that? Christians are the biggest science deniers, right? They are almost, I'd say, well, they're even worse so than the people that want to believe that their fucking rocks heal them. Okay. All right, let's see. Talking snakes, donkeys, sun that stands still, worldwide flood. I forgot about the sun standing still thing. Worldwide flood, crossing the Red Sea, the entire Exodus, which definitely did not happen. The Christian zombie after Jesus' death. Oh, that's right. All the fucking undead people came back to life. Whatever. The remnants. That's what I would consider a remnant. Jesus' death, and so many crazy beliefs. Like, Yeah, the list is eternal of stupid things, stupid propositions that you have to hold if you want to be able to call yourself a Christian in any denomination. It doesn't matter which one. The list of stupid things just grows the more you learn about your religion.
Inspiring philosophy on this. And so
Sheesh.
my question is to him is you don't have to believe in a literal 6-day creation to be a Christian. Okay, so you have an issue with
You don't
the
even know if
science.
he's talking
Okay,
about
fine.
that, man.
So then what we're really discovering is 6-day creation and
Not necessarily.
constructs that are packaged as white patriarchy, conservative evangelicalism. The only issue is these constructs that are white patriarchal evangelicalism, conservative evangelicalism, fundamentalism are the same in every other stream of Christianity.
Dude, don't you get the fact that he doesn't understand that he thinks that he doesn't understand that the fact that there are so many different versions of your very like specific belief, right? Of Jesus coming back to life and all that stuff. And there's so many different versions and so many different denominations and so many different doctrines and so many different interpretations. Like he doesn't get that like your perfect God can't clear any of that up. Like the fact that you think that you're the true Christian while kind of pointing at him, well, he clearly didn't used to be a true Christian, like proves that he doesn't know how to think outside of his own damn purview. It's like just step out of your own brain. And sure, like, yeah, every other religion is wrong, but you've got the right one though, buddy. Yeah. You figured it out. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you got it. Come on, man.
And you know what? We know what this is going to come down to. And he said it on his pod.
And what are we talking about specifically when we say
We're talking about the LGTV. That's what we're talking about, right? Just be honest.
Yeah, because you guys hate gays like a whole lot, man. Like you hate like not only like you hate all of them. You hate every letter in the alphabet, even the one that doesn't want to have sex ever, doesn't have sexual attraction. You're like, yeah, well, fuck them too, because they're in the goddamn list. Like,
you're trying to make it sound deeper than it is. You didn't like Christianity's historical position with the topic of LGTV. I'm speaking in.
Okay, but what about the Christian homeschooling and the fact that Christian homeschooling just magically blew up as soon as segregation was conquered, like as soon as we desegregated the South and or just the whole country, because the whole country was segregated. Once we desegregated schools, oh, what happened? Oh, all the fucking Christian white people were like, you know what? We're going to keep our kid home because we have more money and we can homeschool our kids, you know, because we don't need them having to be around those undesirables, you know. What about that, man? Like Christians have squarely been on the wrong side of history, like today as well, throughout all of history. Okay. I've never seen them be on the correct side of history on just about goddamn anything, including a fucking pandemic that you would think that we'd all be able to agree, hey, maybe we shouldn't spread disease. You know, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe that's a bad thing to do. And the Christian's like, yeah, fuck you. Okay. Jesus is my vaccine. Like, you know.
Code so that YouTube doesn't strike this
And-
video.
and then he saw the scientific study where the dude penguins were doing the dude penguins in the lab.
It's not just one study. It's literally 6% of all, like every single mammalian species on the planet has same-sex attraction. It is like it's through every single mammalian species, man. It's been documented to goddamn death. Being gay is a normal fucking phenomenon, you know. And it's I don't know what the purpose is, you know, of like what happens, how it works, and all that type of stuff. Why it is, and why it isn't, whatever. But it definitely happens. It's definitely natural, and you can't just decide to be attracted to someone or not be attracted to someone. That's not how attraction works. You know, somebody couldn't tell me, my partner, like he couldn't come to me and be like, hey, don't be attracted to her. Just don't do it. You know, I don't think you should be attracted. Like I think that she's unattractive. So you need to think that she's unattractive too. Stop being attracted to her. I couldn't be like, okay, no problem. let me just log that away. Like, what the fuck? You can't do that, man. Like, is what you're saying is when Christians say that you can just decide to not be attracted to people, they're basically telling on themselves by saying, yeah, I could decide to want to suck a cock right now. What? I could want to suck a cock. Cocks look nice sometimes. I'm just saying, okay? I could choose to do that. Really, man? That's like, and it's the exact kind of argument I used to have because I'm pansexual, and so I used to say that a lot. Turns out, yeah, the reason I was so mad at all the people being gay all the time is because I'm a little bit gay. It's kind of funny.
Alaska, and they were like, it happens in nature.
Animals do it, therefore it's natural, therefore the Bible is wrong. You know what animals also do? Hide your kids, hide your
wife. What kind
wife.
of syllogism was that shit? It happens in nature, so you guys are wrong about the particular claim that you can choose to be gay. That's where that claim is wrong. And it's, again, not even made by all the Christians, so you're just incorrect.
Animals also lick their own balls, bud. Some animals eat their own feces. Some animals eat their own kids.
What is this inductive shit? Like, it seems like he's doing that. Like, yes, this is the fucking Hitler's got brown hair. Therefore, if you have brown hair, you are bad. Like, it's like, okay, talk about misunderstanding the fucking argument, dude. Yes, animals like do like things that we don't as humans do. But at the end of the day, we are still animals. I mean, get over it.
Some animals eat their own wives or husbands. Animals do some goofy stuff, my guy. You can't say because animals do it in nature that therefore the Bible is wrong and I'm wrong.
All we gotta do is say the Bible says that can animals talk, bro? Can they talk? Can we at least agree on the fact that animals don't fucking talk? Can we do that? No, of course not. How about that? Then we could say, therefore, the Bible's fucking wrong, man. Because animals don't fucking talk, dude.
Christianity is wrong.
Done.
Not to mention, buddy, and I'm turning up on Red. I'm not really, and I'm not
Yeah,
mad
you're
at
mad.
you, Red, if you're watching this.
He's got that cognitive dissonance rage, like pumping through his. We're gonna see a vein just like making its way to this vector of his face pretty soon here. This region here. It's going to be right in this region here.
I watch it, but I'm not mad at you if you're watching.
Just getting him further away from Christ.
Probably.
Chris Farley was a guy in movies from like 40 years ago.
Poor dude.
I'm frustrated that this sort of conversation becomes exclusive to Western evangelical, which, by the way, I have all kinds of gripes with Western evangelicalism.
So is he trying to say that he's not anti-gay? That he doesn't think that being gay is a sin? That he doesn't support, that he does support gay marriage? Is he trying to say all those things? Because otherwise, what are you even doing? What are you saying? It's just so weird. He's like, oh man, all these other Christians are so bigoted. Well, yeah, I have the same bigotries too, but they're meaner about it.
About those, right? And we have talked about those. We've brought on inspiring philosophy. We've talked about 6-day creation. We've talked about these things. The issue is, if you go to other parts of the world, like anywhere Christianity has been, like go to Ethiopia and try to pander this, the penguins are gay, therefore the Bible is wrong nonsense. Like go there and try.
Yeah, it turns out that the more desperate that people are, the more likely they're going to be to latch on to a belief that says that this life doesn't actually matter. Just wait till the next one where you get all your magic gold shit. Okay. Yeah. They tend to like be, having difficult times about it. I mean, like, look at the, like Islam. Why do you think Islam is the way it is? And like the way that those work and the governments use it as much as they do, because it's not actually the religion being like evil. I mean, I'd argue that it's not good. None of it is good. But it's the desperation in those areas. And so they believe that if somebody isn't following their religion, right, it can cause them to starve to death or whatever. And so that causes them to harm people because they're not following the religion enough. Desperation's a motherfucker, man. I mean, just look in the crime area, the high crime areas here in America. It's that you can just see the desperation everywhere.
Try to tell them that therefore God got it wrong because it's in nature. Go to Egypt. Go to India.
What kind of argument is that, dude? Like, okay, well, they would disagree with you in other countries. So, like, what is your point? What are you saying?
Come to where I'm from. Go to Armenia. Go talk to some Armenian. Talk to folks who are from other parts of the world, and what you'll quickly discover, whether they're Catholic, whether they're Eastern Orthodox, whether they're Oriental Orthodox, everybody from all walks of life, in terms of the back, are all consistent on these things. Yet we only dismiss American Protestants as bigots and homophobes and closed-minded.
No, we don't.
Instead of
that's fucking bullshit right there. I think we can call Ireland, the Irish law and stuff, that is extremely bigoted, man. You know what? Muslim countries are really bigoted too, bro. And all those other Christian countries are extremely bigoted. What I don't understand, we're just like, oh, because they hate gays, but they're not being like made into some kind of stereotype that is some kind of get on his side. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm so confused as to what is your actual argument. Like, if people won't be convinced of it in other countries that hate gay people too, therefore Christianity, what?
Engaging with your issue isn't with this specific streamline of Christianity. Your issue is you think that you got it right. You think that God's wrong on this, right? And this is all throughout it.
So all that's big, and you think that you're right about God being wrong. So, wow, yeah, that's what deconverting is.
There are things that fundamentalism have gotten it wrong. Yes, absolutely. There's some weird overlap with politics.
Okay, are they hearing like from the true God that actually exists or not? Because if they're out here getting stuff wrong, and we're talking the fundamentals of fucking your religion, dude. Like, if they're out here getting stuff wrong, then they're not hearing from God. And therefore, how do you know you are hearing from God? And the thing is, too, the guy was clearly very humble. This rat dude was and he said, I could be wrong, and it's like, he's like, but he's saying he's right. No, he's not. He's saying he could be mistaken. He's being skeptical. He's actually thinking more appropriately, which is coming to conclusions as you can basically demonstrate that you have good reasons and evidence to think so.
Often unnecessary. There's some distortions of what does it mean to submit, and complementarianism that's been bastardized.
And the perfect God couldn't figure out how to handle all this stuff. Your perfect God couldn't figure out the most important message that he has to give to humanity and say it in any kind of consistent way without people misinterpreting it a bunch. That should be evidence alone, because every single time they do this no true Scotsman bullshit, they can't see from within, like from outside their own purview, and go, hey, everybody just thinks theirs is right, man. And that's your whole argument, is he had the wrong kind of Christianity, therefore he deconverted. It's like, no, man, y'all, like people deconvert from all different types of Christianity, and yours isn't any better. You're still a fundamentalist, man.
In many fundamentalist circles, we're seeing the stuff with the who's the family, the Duggars, right? And all
that was stuff. Very similar. Like, that's what I actually, because I was homeschooled, and it was very that was a triggering. I was triggered throughout that movie. Just brought a lot of trauma. We were just like, wow, I forgot they did that to us, and it just kind of like cut deep. I actually had to ask Nikki like if we could watch something else, because it was kind of like it brings a lot of trauma. Let me put it that way. Like, that shit, they do a lot of fucked up shit in that documentary that had happened to me, and I just forgot about it.
We see stuff in some churches that are rather mainstream that do some goofy stuff and have some abuses of power. However, to then backdoor all of Christianity as being wrong because of issues around 6-day creation and LGTV, I just think is extremely disingenuous.
If y'all are wondering, he says LGTV because he thinks that it gets him like banned or something because he believes in really stupid conspiracy theories about YouTube, like I don't know, hating everybody. But he is on here saying a bunch of bigot shit, so it makes sense that he's going to try and hide it because the hallmark of Christianity, fucking dishonesty.
Now, again, I would also say Christians shouldn't spend the majority of their time railing against the LGTV. That's also not helpful, right?
Okay.
If your entire ministry is just railing against,
I'd agree, except that I'd say they should spend zero amounts of time railing against them because they haven't done anything to you they don't deserve to have their rights taken away. And there's 450 fucking bills across the entire United States against them, removing their rights, making them like not know if they can go to the fucking bathroom or not without having their genitals checked.
Against the specific group of people. That also sounds goofy, right? That doesn't make any sense either, right? You got 6 verses about LGTV and like 30 verses about sexual morality, and then people build their entire ministries about speaking out against LGTV and this morality. There's all kinds of other topics that the Bible speaks of that promotes, like loving your neighbor.
It's so funny. A lot of this, like the stuff this guy says, it reminds me of like me back in the day. I like had very, very similar arguments as to that. Like I was like, hey, yeah, I believe it's a sin. Oh, hey, oh, whoa, I believe it's a sin. But hey, so is just sleeping with women when you're not married. So it's not any worse than that, But it was very obvious if you kept talking to me that I clearly did think it was worse than just doing that.
Being charitable, like caring for the least of these, caring for the widow, loving people, so on and so forth, that are all throughout the scriptures that I think we should be known by.
Fuck, it's not. It's in like 3 places, man. There's like one, I think it's like 2 times in the Old Testament. I think it's just 1 time, maybe 1 or 2 times in the New Testament. The actually moral things in the Bible are fucking limited. Like it is so much smaller than what you think. Most of it's just about worshiping this psycho god that like just needs to feel like he's, he needs to be worshipped at all times, and like, I don't know, just lifting him up and praising him and worshiping him, and then obedience and asking for forgiveness. Like that's the majority of the book. The actually true moral things is stuff that's so limited, and you can find it in any of the other holy books, really. And then just ethics, like moral philosophy and ethics and whatnot.
But I think whenever it comes,
actually, that's your best bet. That's where you're really going to get the best kind of moral instruction, is by going through moral philosophy.
Comes down to this conversation, I just think it's very myopic, and the type of language I'm hearing is not dealing with the issue of, is Jesus the Son of God? Did Jesus die and rise from the grave?
I almost feel like he's kind of like, oh, see, it does sound kind of stupid when I'm saying this out loud. I can see why somebody would not think that this is very reasonable to believe that a guy died and came back to life, and it had to have happened because he's God. Since he's God, that's why stupid, unrealistic things that you shouldn't believe happen, because he's God, though. That's it's like, and you can see it in his eyes, like, okay, maybe I probably shouldn't bring this up at all.
Are the New Testament letters trustworthy? Is God's design for a one woman, one man marriage optimal and in the best interest of his creation? Those aren't the issues.
Hold on, optimal or allowed? Okay, because that's the thing that you've been trying to fight, is that they're not allowed because Christians own marriage, apparently.
The issues is 6-day creation, and then you pull on that thread, and it turns into all kinds of other stuff.
You can pull on the fucking thread of him coming back to life. Are you kidding me? Really? You think the most reasonable explanation? Because if I was to be honest, and apparently I've actually gotten this wrong, because I don't know. We don't actually have good reason to think it's even his empty tomb. We don't know, right? But a lot of scholars do believe that we do have an empty grave that belonged to Jesus, right? And you have to sit there and think that the most reasonable explanation is that a guy died and came back to life and flew away into the clouds. And that's the most reasonable explanation over any other thing that could have possibly happened that made it so that body was not in there. I mean, come on. Just that alone should make you go, yeah, man, maybe this is stupid. Maybe this is dumb thinking about thinking that somebody died and came back to life 2,000 years ago.
I just don't think this stuff is helpful, but I would like to hear from you guys. I mean, what do you guys think?
See,
like,
we
are in a place.
He finally gets to a point where he's actually talking about what the point was that the guy was bringing up, and then he has to skim past it because, oh shit, it's starting to sound not very convincing now because I have to believe that a carpenter came back to life.
Where we have such a narrow view of what we think Christianity is, and I think a lot of folks just need to travel. Like, I think a lot of folks need to travel and need to go.
This dude is tripping me out. What are you talking about? You have forgotten his. I'm starting to wonder. I'm like, is this somebody from my old church or something? It's like, you used to have such a fire. You have such a fire in your heart for Jesus. Like, it's starting to make me wonder if they do like have if it's somebody that I know. And they're coming to mess with me. No, man, I haven't. I've not forgotten anything. I remember all of it, and it's silly and nonsensical and leads to extremely bad conclusions and behavior because of such. Okay, and I really wish that you would start to actually kind of think about why you think these things are true, and then really kind of deconstruct how, like, the reasons that you believe, because I bet you money, and I'm not saying this for a fact, I bet you money the reason that you believe this stuff is because you've been led to by other people, either from birth, okay, or when you were very desperate, because that's what they play off of. There's no people just doing perfectly fine that all of a sudden they're just like, oh man, I need Jesus. Like, that's not what happens. They get people at their most desperate, and you can hear it at every single sermon when they're like, hey, whatever you're going through, if you're out there, and I can just feel it right now, the Lord's showing me that there's someone suffering out there. Well, we've got an answer for you here, and we can fix all your problems. We'll just fix it all up. All you got to do is believe a bunch of dumb shit that doesn't make any sense, and we'll be a community that you desperately need. And then, but you just have to, reject your sexuality, or if you're gay, and do a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of other shit that, like, you don't want to have to do. But in order to make it in this community that a lot of people feel like they need to be in, you have to do it. It's all manipulative, man.
Go make some,
I
other
feel like you know that.
friends from some different ethnicities, some different cultures, and ask them about what their views are on this stuff.
Yeah. So if they believe in other religions, like if they're Hindu, you should ask them what they think about this. They'd be like, yeah, Christianity's stupid, man. There's a bunch of gods, obviously. Why do you think bad things happen? You think bad things happen to good people because just one god is in charge? Are you stupid? Of course, there's a bunch of gods all fighting each other and have different interests that are colliding all the time, and we're caught in the crossfire. Of course, obviously. How do you answer that? How do you answer the bad things that happen to good people? How do you? And they're like, it's called the problem of evil, and we don't really, we try not to. I don't know. Actually, we don't know. I don't know why God does what he does. Like, that's the main answer I've gotten from that question. So yeah, if they would run around asking other people of other religions, they would hear some things that they would not like real quick.
Right? Because I think this is not exclusive to white patriarchal fundamentalism, right? Now, some of the stuff he was dealing with probably is kind of goofy and is specifically within that stream. But if you pull out a little bit, like, there's all kinds of other streams of Christianity, and yet there's unity on marriage.
Oh, he's messing it up. He's starting to notice it. It's starting to fall apart right here in front of him. Yeah, because all of them are believe in different things, but they all are the same religion. That doesn't make sense. Oh, because they can't believe different things if there's one true God. Shoot. Yeah, I don't know.
There's unity on the divinity of Jesus, right? There's essentials and
we have one thing that we agree on.
So anyway, I want to hear from
and you. Like, you don't even agree on the Trinity. Like, in the Trinity is the dumbest thing that anybody could say. Well, yeah, there's three, but there's just one. but he's three. No, well, he's in three forms, but he's just one. Yeah, Jesus was just out talking to himself. He didn't need to do that, but he just did it to feel like it because he felt like talking to himself when he was praying to himself.
What do you guys think? Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream.
See, here we go, right here. The evidence that you need is within you. Huh. Interesting. It almost sounds like you're saying, I need to just act like it's true, right? And then I'll realize that it's true. Is that correct? Just pretensies. Just, fake it till you make it, right? Just pretend that this is all true, because otherwise God won't believe, won't bring me into his, he won't actually give me evidence unless I pretend like that I'm already believing anyway. It almost sounds like a tool of manipulation to get people to just act like they believe stuff until they're finally just like, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna, I totally believe this stuff. Yep. Gotta believe it to believe it. So stupid. Come on, dude. Why you look for him? Is that, are we talking about Jesus again? Because you're flip. You seem to switch out the all caps hymns and thems and all that stuff. Anyway, coming in the cloud. Why do you look for him coming in the clouds? What? I don't. That's silly and nonsensical. Go within. His kingdom is within you. Your churches have corrupted my churches have corrupted me, huh? Interesting. What churches? Like, what are you talking about? Like, let me guess. You got the correct version of Christianity, and all these pesky churches out there just doing it stupid and wrong. And those are the ones that I believed in, and that's why I'm not a believer anymore. Is that right? Is that what you're going to say to me? Because it's not like I've ever heard that one before. That's brand new. It's so funny, y'all. Look within you. I'm looking like, okay. Hello, anybody in? Like, where are you at? Magical carpenter ghost. Where you at, bro? Are you gonna just come out, or can you just come out and say hi? That's all I'm asking, man. And then you'll make a believer of me on a stream, and everybody will see it. So say why you. Oh, I said okay. That was all right. See, exactly. Logan said, "How is it evidence if only you can feel it?" That's that's by definition not evidence. The whole point of evidence is to demonstrate that it's evident. So, yeah, not doing well. Exactly, like solipsism. And I'm sure, blessed be he doesn't know what solipsism is. Solipsism is the belief that, or is the understanding that if you take skepticism to its logical conclusion, you can't really tell if you're not a brain in a vat being fed information and nothing is real, right? So I mean, but that's very similar to what he's saying about your beliefs, is that yours the one that figured it out. It's just like solipsism. That was what he was basically saying. Anyway. Yeah, you could be lying to yourself. That's the thing. A lot of this stuff just is self-deception, and that's why I kind of feel bad, but that's why I ridicule it the way I do, because I think that kind of helps people sort of snap out of it. If they're able to laugh at this stuff and go, "Oh yeah, that is really dumb," to think something like that. If you can get people to do that, and they're like, "Oh man," and I'm telling you, it improves their lives like crazy if you can snap them out of having to do all this stuff out of fear and anger and hate, and then just always feeling shame. It's just a mess. It's a mess, and it's not fun for anybody. Okay, we got one more. We all, comma, have our own unique evidence within. What? Okay. That's not evidence. That I just explained what evidence means. Evidence is things that you can demonstrate to other people. That's what makes it evidence. Okay, evidence within. That's what makes it beautiful, but yet you forsake the truth. Just calling it the truth doesn't make it so, by the way. I could say that you forsake the truth of Flarganalarg, and you don't believe in Flarganalarg, therefore you're forsaking the truth of Flarganalarg. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Vonjak says, we need more Christian zombies these days. We got lots of people waiting for the zombies. That's true. Yeah, the preppers. Yeah, the doomsday prepper. Yeah, exactly, right. Oh, man. All right, we'll let this dude finish up.
Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get
Okay,
access.
never mind, he's done. Unless you have something else you want to say that isn't just telling us to look within, blessed be he, because we've explained that that's not reasonable, and you're basically just telling us to believe something in order to believe something, which makes no sense. So if you don't have any better arguments, then just do it. Just believe it. Just do. That's something about, you gotta have faith. That's what that sounds to me. Just do it. Just okay. Just okay. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back next time, probably tomorrow, with another video. I've got a lot of time this week, so I will be hanging out with y'all a bit more, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, make sure to hang out, make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff, and share it around with your friends, all that shit.